Welcome back to biology class. In the previous video, we discussed the experiments conducted by Mendel and the conclusions he arrived after that. So in F1 generation, a tall plant was crossed with a dwarf plant. Since only one character was considered in this experiment, it is called Monohybrid Cross. And the character considered was stem height, and the letter T was used to denote its alleles. The capital letter T was used to denote a tall plant and small letter t for the dwarf plant. In plants, the alleles occurs in pairs, but during crossing, the plant produces gametes, and by the process of meiosis, the alleles in parent plants separate from each other and only one allele is transmitted to the gamete. So a gamete has only a single allele. So the plant with capital T alleles produce gametes with capital T allele. Similarly, dwarf plants produce gametes with small t allele. After crossing, it produces capital T, small t plants. Although it has both the alleles for tall and dwarf character, offspring only express tall character. This is because the tall character dominates over the other. So, when a character dominates over the other character, it is called dominant trait, and the other character is called recessive trait. Since the hybrid formed after the cross contain alleles which express contrasting characters, these plants are called heterozygous. But in parent plants, they have a pair of identical alleles, so they are both called homozygous. These allelic pairs of plants are commonly called genotype. The descriptive term used, like tall and dwarf plants, are the phenotype of the plant. Based on his observations on monohybrid crosses, Mendel proposed two general rules. They are principles of inheritance or laws of inheritance. Law of dominance is the first law of inheritance. It states that characters are controlled by discrete units called factors. The factors occurs in pairs. In a dissimilar pair of factor, one member of the pair dominates over the other. This law is used to explain the expression of parental characters in monohybrid crosses. It explains one of the parental character in the F1 generation and both in F2. It also helps to explain the proportion of 3:1 which is obtained in F2. The second law is the law of segregation. This law is based on the fact that the alleles do not show any blending of characters. Although the parents contain two alleles during gamete formation, the factors or alleles of a pair segregate from each other such that a gamete receives only one of the two factors. So, a homozygous parent produces all gametes that are similar, while a heterozygous one produces two kinds of gametes, each having one allele with equal proportion. Both of these laws were proposed on the fact that the characters studied in the experiment were all show true dominance, but not always all characters show true dominance. Some characters show incomplete and some show codominance. In incomplete dominance, the progeny formed did not resemble either of the two parents and has a character which is in between the two. When a red-flowered plant was crossed with a white-flowered plant, the resultant F1 generation were all pink-flowered. When this F1 was self-pollinated, the F2 formed in the ratio 1:2:1. That is 1 red, 2 pink and 1 white-flowered plants. What happened was, since the red was not completely dominant over the white, it made it possible to distinguish the heterozygous form as pink colored flower rather than being red or completely white. That's about incomplete dominance. Now about codominance. In the case of codominance, the F1 generation resembles both of the parents. ABO blood grouping in human beings is a good example for this. So, in codominance, the alleles are equally expressed, while in incomplete dominance, the alleles will blend together. So, that's about the inheritance of one gene. We'll discuss the rest in the upcoming videos. If you like this video, please subscribe and stay tuned for more contents like this.